Howdy, here's Bonnie with a quick ad. I started podcast recording. What I missed from the beginning was a platform that allowed me to record my interviews with my guests in a way that gives me complete overview over the entire situation, over the audio quality, video quality, internet connection. And exactly after 3 years of podcasting, I finally found my platform to record on. It's called Zencaster. It's so easy to record a podcast on Zencaster. Log in using your browser and start recording a high quality podcast right away. Record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of Zen, knowing Zencaster's multi-layer backups ensure you always have your recordings in highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. All you have to do is go to zencaster.com/pricing, that's spelled zencastr.com/pricing, and use my code BonniesLegends, that's BonniesLegends, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster pay plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Howdy everyone, and welcome to the part 2 of my conversation with Liv DeToma. Welcome to Bonnie's Legends. Welcome to... No, this is actually not the feed. My mind is all over the world. Welcome to Bonnie's Legends. I'm your host, Bonnie Orbison, and I hope you had a great day. You have a great day wherever you are in the world. I am so grateful you started listening to this episode and you want to tune in to my conversation with Olivia. If you have missed part 1 of our conversation, don't worry. Those two parts are not dependent on each other, except if you want to have a more in-depth introduction of who Olivia DeToma is, then you should listen maybe to part 1. But again, those two parts are not really dependent on each other. In part 1, we basically just talk about her new single Push and about her musical journey, as I said before. And in this part, I already spilled the tea what we're going to talk about in this upcoming episode at the end of part 1, and then noticed I am actually recording the ending, not the intro. So here you go again. This conversation you're about to listen to is mostly surrounding indie music and the music industry nowadays. Basically, we start off with talking about indie music, and then we notice that there are so many different definitions of what indie music is. And because, we have the independent artists who do music, and that's indie music, but also there's this entire genre of basically their entire Spotify playlists with popular artists called indie too. So that's how we kind of started off the conversation, and then completely sidetracked. In the middle of it, I just put down my notes and questions and was like, this is so good, the conversation. We just keep going. And so, yeah, basically we touch on that, and then we talk about the music industry, how it is nowadays to be an indie artist. She talks about, how you have to promote a song at the moment, how you have to promote a new single at the moment. Again, here we touch again based on how the release went with Push, and also like how nowadays, especially with social media, short form content is prioritized in the music industry, and how she kind of really wants it different. And so, yeah, I really loved our conversation. I hope you have a great time listening to this. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here is Olivia for part 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have Olivia DeToma on my podcast.
Hey guys.
I love how everyone's like waving, and I'm like, this is a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know where we got that from. Maybe
Know.
because everything on TV, on the news and stuff, like turned into Zooms, and everyone's always waving.
Oh yeah.
Nature
God.
is so weird.
Do you remember, okay, the last time you were in the podcast, we talked about your single. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Wait. It
was a while ago. Push was the most recent one.
Push, yeah. It was Push or Pusher. No, it was Push.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
Or it might have been, depending on when we did it, it could have been that Push was coming out. It actually, I don't think it had come out yet, technically.
Yeah, the song was not out yet. Then we were like recording. So I'm like looking up your name now.
Yeah, it was almost done, or it was done. And I think I was promoting it, but it wasn't released.
Yes. Yeah.
But the other one was out.
Yeah, it was Drifter. Drifter was out.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Drifter became really a soothing song for me. I mean, it's a surprise I haven't listened to it today, because I had like my theory test and I was like really nervous. And usually when I'm nervous, I like go to my go-to soothing song, and that's Drifter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It is soothing. It's definitely an easy goer.
Yes. And so like my memories after the song are like, I don't know, right before, like, you know, when you have to like wait to like get into the waiting room for the exam. And as I said, I graduated high school this year, so there were a lot of exams. So I always like put my headphones on and just listen to Drifter on repeat.
That's wild. Oh my God. That's funny for someone like me, because I'm so deeply anxious. Like as a person. So that's kind of cool, because it's like obviously that's a very soothing song, but it's a little ironic. Like my brain is like laughing at that, because it's like it's thinking it's funny that somebody as stressed out as me could make something soothing enough that somebody wants to put it on every time that they're in a stressful situation. Like that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, you deserve this.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a surprise I haven't listened to it today, but I just remembered it now that I was Drifter, because this morning I was like, what was the song I always put on like before my exams?
Yeah, because that one was out.
And then now that I saw you, I was like, oh yeah, that was Drifter.
Yeah, it was Drifter. The first one, the baby.
Yeah.
I have that song, like it's existed for so long. It's funny, like I don't listen to it that often, because every time I listen to it, I think of like 3 ways I want to re-record it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I feel that.
It's nice to just have it as it is, you know, because like it was what it was, and it is what it is, and it is. I like it the way that it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, it was the first one. It's been around. I feel like it's cute. I see a lot of artists doing like 10th anniversary things for their songs, or like 2-year anniversaries for their albums. And it's funny. I feel like, and I kind of like it, because it's like, I feel like there's a larger conversation about this going on in general with content as a whole, but it's like, I feel like people are getting a little less afraid to like reuse what we've got, you know, like. And I guess I'm speaking of like big bands, you know, who like have made like added lots to their discography, but it's nice to see that kind of an attitude, because it's like, it's a shame to just let things like fall into the ether until we're like really old. Like, and maybe it's also just that I'm getting to that age where like bands that I used to listen to are like, we're all in a new era, and they're like, well, it would be fun to do like a throwback tour. Not the same as like the Fleetwood Mac ones, but it's like giving that, like, it feels like that, like, you know, like the revival tour, like reunion tours, like I think it's happening earlier now. And it's not like people are running out of ideas. Like, I don't think that's the reason. Like,
yeah, I get you.
But it's like nice to like go back and like sit with things that are old. Like, I mean, Taylor Swift is doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't get tickets, but she's
Who
doing
did
it.
though? Yeah.
But it's cool that she's doing that, you know. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like I stopped being so intense with myself about where the song sat, you know, when it came out.
Yeah.
Because it was what it was, and it's like totally great.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to do more. I'm like, I just learned a lot over the past couple of years. Mostly from playing live too, honestly.
Yeah. You played live a lot this year.
Yeah. And I guess like when I look back at it, yeah, I did. You get caught in the vortex of social media a lot as an artist because you're like it's just a blur. Like not even necessarily like because you're comparing yourself to other people all the time. Like it's not that part of it. I think it's just that like I don't know, you see so much of it and you try to document so much of it that it just like whoop.
Yeah.
Whoop, like I try to keep my written set list from every show I've done, and I try to keep like a log of every show I've done.
Nice.
And then to make it better, I should be also like I saw someone once was like, it's helpful and productive to like take notes about the shows like every single time, you know, like what were things that went well, what were things that weren't well, or things that didn't go well. And I do a little bit of that. I try to stick more on the what went well side because I am very self-critical. And I'm a perfectionist, which has gotten better in the past year, I will say, and definitely as a product of playing live and just like fucking up and like whatever, like, and also seeing people I look up to do that as well, either live or like, you know, on their own socials. I think everyone's just getting more vulnerable and being like, listen, we're just freaking human beings. Like, we can't all be like Britney Spears was not doing that because maybe she even wanted to, you know what I mean? Like we have these role models that were like so robotic and perfect. And like I grew up thinking like, even though I didn't necessarily, I mean, let's admit, like when I was younger, there was only one type of person to be. I think we talked about this but last time too, maybe like there was only one type of like singer to be as a girl, specifically unless you're a country artist, and that was a pop star. Because like it's not the alternative girlies existed, but unless like they were filtering in like in my consciousness, like they were filtering in, but like the only like example really that you were given was like either superstardom or nothing. But as I got older, I was like, you know what sounds stressful and not fun? That like the Britney Spears level, you know, of like control and whatnot. Obviously that's a very complicated situation for a lot of reasons, but she, you know, she was like someone that I looked up to, like obviously. But now there's people like Maggie Rogers out there. There's other people like, you know, the genre, the industry is just like changed, and I think like the star cycle has changed. But it's allowed people to be more imperfect and be more like, I'm also a work in progress. And I think that's also just like the nature of the indie side of the business and the alternative side of the business. And so as I started, and even now, like that just keeps getting more and more, you know, seemingly to be like this, like kind of where I belong, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it's nice because I feel like it's just like a very human side of things. Madison Cunningham is another person I really idolize right now. I think she's not only like one of the most talented people working right now, period, and she's lovely, but also like she's a very human, and her shows are very human. Nice. Even though like she doesn't really make mistakes, she's like too good, you know, but like it's a very like warm environment. And every time that I've seen her on TV or on a late show or on any sort of segment after having seen her live, I'm like, oh my god, it's like the same, like because she's just so authentic and genuine.
I had this experience actually because I saw Maggie Rogers live.
Like I'm seeing her in March. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, I have to say I was pretty lucky because it was at the Ali Pali and there were 10,000 people and I got somehow to the second row. So
Wow.
that was I am lucky, you know.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, also because the tubes were striking that day in London. So I guess that's why I was lucky, because my Airbnb was like around the corner. So
Okay.
nobody was like queuing in when I like came there. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I don't know, you know, she's gone. I don't know quite sure yet right now if she's still indie, because she released like she released like she released Heard It in a Past Life, like with a big label, because she like went viral with the Philip. Sorry, how was wait, Philip? No.
What did she go
Oh,
viral for?
oh, this Alaska video where
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
forgot that
where
that's what the
like
whole album was called.
oh yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Shame on me.
Um
I don't know what I
yeah,
thought. I thought it
anyway.
was just like, I don't know what I thought.
Yeah. Anyway, she went like, and then she like went indie with her like her new like she founded a label, and then she released like her old demos. But then
Yes.
now they're releasing Surrender. I was like, is she still indie? Because you know, of the promotion kind of thing she's done, you know, with
Yeah,
I
because
don't know,
she's
with
with a
all these
bigger label. She with Capitol now?
yeah, could
Or
be.
an at least an offshoot of them.
Yeah. So I was
That's a
like,
good point. I mean, because about like the sound of it too. Because in my
yeah,
head, I'm like, I've been calling it like when I think about Surrender, I'm like, oh, that's an indie pop album.
yeah,
Because and
exactly.
that's a good point though, because like all the girlies, like they're really like if you want to be like technical about
Yeah,
it, yeah, I guess you could argue that they're not independent because they're with labels.
yeah.
And they're more pop than they are like straight up indie vibes.
Yeah.
But they're all saying they're indie pop. Spotify's calling them indie pop. Apple
Yes.
Music is calling them indie, independent artists. Specifically, another person I love, Holly Humberstone, is another example. She's still on the up and coming, but she's very popular. Like she has a huge following. She's open for like similarly to Chapel, like she's open for Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Um, she's British. She's a Brit. But she does have like a team behind her. But her whole aesthetic and everything is like indie. And she's getting the
Yeah.
indie label. And so then it's like this, it confuses the rest of us who are actually independent because
Yes,
it's like
yes.
you're stealing our
Yeah.
like
The space you have.
yeah. And it's like
Yeah.
not to say that they're not in those states to say that they're taking opportunities because it's like no, not like that, like they're just on a different playing field, and it's just confusing the audience, I think, is what is like
Yeah.
is the thing here. It's confusing the audience, and it's confusing those of us who are still trying to figure ourselves out, because like not only are we up against the beast anyway, but the beast is constantly like changing literally the name of the game and
Yeah.
changing what we call things and like changing like what you need to like be, sound, like have, know in order to like associate with a specific genre. And maybe this is me all just like being in my head and like being insecure
No.
about what I sound like and like how I should present myself, because like I'll admit like branding is hard, and like being
Yeah.
independent and having no team, that's hard. Like it's
Yeah.
bizarre to try and figure that shit out, all by yourself and not get wrapped up in all of that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like they're changing the game a little bit, and like we don't still even know how to fully play it. So it's like interesting. Like, yeah, like they're all, and in some ways it helps, I think, he's also because it's easier for me to be like, oh, I'm indie pop, like these artists. But the thing about it is that they're still indie enough, or they're still
Yeah.
alternative enough that like people still don't know who I'm talking about. Like I am shocked to tell you
Yeah.
how many times I've mentioned like Maggie Rogers, and people are like, "Who's that?" Like even my Gen Z little sister, I mean, she's I think she's like 24 now or something like that. But like she's younger than me. Like even she, like usually, you think like I don't know, like the younger they are, the more people they know. She and
Yeah.
I have very different music tastes, but it's like I don't know, like she's played lots of late night TV. Like I thought people knew who she was, but like no, most people still don't know who Maggie Rogers is, and they definitely don't know Holly Humberstone yet, and they definitely
Yeah.
like Chapel's on the rise, and I feel like I like found more people who I know personally in my life who are listening to her as well, who I did not know were listening to her like the whole time I was. So that's been
Yeah.
exciting. But like, you know, you go out onto the street, Chapel Roan, like most people probably. So I'm like, is that why? Like, I don't know. I'm like, what's your method of measurement here?
Yeah. So what I recognized is like, because, you know, I have a podcast. Okay. So I started this podcast. It was mostly because I just wanted to interview people I look up to. And because I listened to a lot of music, a lot of musicians came on my podcast. And suddenly I was charting at the music interview charts. And I was like, oh, I'm a music podcast. I didn't know that. But thank you for putting me into a genre. That's good. Okay. So then I've been like, all right, I think I will be focusing around that more. And like, especially like the indie industry, because I listen to a lot of independent artists and I love supporting them, like buying their merch or like inviting them to the podcast. And I like, I was on a interview with someone and he was like, he's literally an indie musician, and he was like, I discovered so many new artists over your podcast, like keep going. I was like, I keep going. Okay.
Yeah
and it's so interesting because now like indie is trend. I don't know, I have this year so many things went viral and suddenly people were like screaming hell yeah for this, and I was like, you laughed at me for liking this 3 years ago.
Yep.
So same with the indie, I was like, everybody was like then talking about indie music, and then I was like introducing myself and was like, yeah, I have a music podcast. And then they were like, oh, indie music, like, yeah, like I was at a concert and they were like, so you listen to 1975? And I was like, I do listen to them, but they're not indie, thank you.
What are they, like alternative rock?
I mean,
like pop rock?
I saw them at the indie playlist the other day. I was like, this is wrong.
That's the thing.
Yes.
That's why I think like it's become like obviously I think when it started, it was literally independent because it literally meant what it meant. Like you don't have any support, you don't have a label, like you're doing it on your own. I do think, like, I guess I do have an answer. But it's like, I do think that it's also because like it has come to mean like the sound as well. Like it's come to represent like an aesthetic, like you mentioned, and like the fact that it can trend, like the fact that it's more like indie is more like, to me it means more than just about like the label stuff as well. So like like I was ragging on like it's getting confusing, blah, 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 but ultimately
but it is getting confusing because people nowadays when they want to get into indie music, or like they want to like discover more indie artists, like independent artists without a label, and they go on these indie pop playlists, they struggle finding really artists without no label.
It's true. And it's like, I don't know about yours. I mean, mine is a special case because I listen to way too much meditation music, but my Discovery Weekly my Discovery Weekly used to be, I can't tell you like all the music that I know and love now that I never would have heard of before. Like I found because of Spotify and what it was giving me. And it was giving me at the time, like lesser known artists. Like I guess they were still signed. I would have to fact check because I don't remember. It was so like when it started like I don't remember, ultimately everybody, and maybe they're signed now, but it definitely was giving me more of a mixture. Now that my Discover Weekly program is effed because I can't re-algorithm it, I'm still trying because my friends were like, switch to meditation sound podcasts instead of albums, and I'm like, okay, I'll try that. Anyway, hasn't worked yet, but anytime I go to a daily mix or anytime I go to those like indie playlists or like new and noteworthy or like the Fresh Finds one in particular has been getting my goat because they're putting like Olivia Rodrigo on there. That's a pop bitch. Love you, girl. No shade. But you don't belong on that playlist, motherfucker. You've got Dan Negro. I'm sorry, but if you've got Dan Negro on your tracks, like, and I know Miss Chapel Hoogan, love you, champion you, queen. But I don't think this is a Spotify thing for me. Like this is on them. There's another category that better fits everyone. But it's like, I feel like now I'm still being pumped with like the trending stuff, the popular stuff, which is freaking awesome. But it's like, I went to this playlist so I could find something different, new, and unheard of that I maybe don't know, or maybe has 3,000 views and is spectacular. But it's not doing that. They're not doing that.
Well,
even
I have to be
making money. It's like and I don't care about money like right now. Like that's not my thing. But it's just like that's very much a problem for other people who are like investing more, you know, like or whatever their reasoning is for wanting to make money behind their streams. Like we all have our reasons, but it's like on top of that, like it's just embarrassing, you know, like it's embarrassing. It's a little like
I was actually shocked the other day. I went to the modern, it was the retro soul playlist or the modern electric one, and I found, have you heard of Drug Dealer?
Say again?
Drug Dealer.
I think so.
Yeah, the name was it was kind of known to me too, but I listened to it and was like, and then I kind of saw like he didn't really have many. I mean, I'm not sure. Let me check that. But he just dropped like a new album, and it was like you know, something completely fresh to me. So I was like, oh my god, I'm finding something new.
Suddenly, his number one song has 33 million streams.
Yeah, but like the new album doesn't have many, so it was like you like Spotify. You give me something completely new, like something fresh. Like what is going on?
Yeah, right. Because it used to be so good at it, and it used to be like constant. Like it used to be constantly.
Yeah,
and I guess like. I guess it once it figures you out, it thinks like there was a period of time where it kept feeding me too, like the same, like it thought that I didn't know the songs, and I'm like, you pitched this to me 2 years ago. I already listened to this song like once a week. I don't know, and I know that stuff is so individualized because like everybody's user experience is different.
Okay.
But those editorial playlists, like, I don't know. I mean, I really kind of, I stopped. Like I'll still apply to them, and of course, like, but I was so like riled up by that when I released my first two, even though I knew I wasn't gonna hit them. Like I still was like, no, I need to like try my hardest because they say that's the. I guess like I've learned about so many other like things over the past like year or two, you know, that are not involving like you know, like totally like bowing down to the Spotify editorial gods. Like I went to a workshop that my friend her name's Kat did. She's really cool. I'm trying to remember her last name right off the top of my Kat Hamilton, who's LA based, really cool artist. She did a DIY tour workshop Zoom situation where she was like, listen, I just got back, because she did like a cross country, like all around town tour, and she did it by herself, and she's the boss, and she was like, I just want to like share what I learned. And so it was just like a one night Zoom, but she told us a lot about that process, you know, and how that went, and what to do and what to look out for. But my main takeaway from it was like, okay, yeah, like gaining a fan base and like connecting with people still is rooted in those like traditional, and when I say traditional, I mean like you go out to the show and you play the show and you meet the people, and then you know, you form like actual connections with them, and then you go traditional ways of making it. And like everyone has a different perspective of what making it means. I think all of us obviously would love to break even on whatever we, you know, invested to make this stuff. A goal for me making it is being able to play consistent shows with a full band, because that means I'm paying those people, and then those shows are paying us. Like, that's me. I've made it. If I get there, will I have maybe a new version of making it? Sure, absolutely. Because like, what is goal setting if you don't achieve your goals and then set more goals? Like, you know, but like, I take it step by step. I try to, like when it comes to like day-to-day operations, you know, because like there's no sense in getting like worked up about things that I can't control and that I can't change, but like I can control, like I can keep going out for shows. I could like improve my EPK. Like I need a press kit. Like one of my goals for the next year is when I do release, like I want to be doing it differently. And by differently, I mean differently than how I thought I was going to be doing it at the beginning. But the same as people have been doing it for eons. I'm going to go back to the let's record the material, we pick a single, and then the chunk comes out model. Because I am sick to death of feeling like I need to churn out singles in order to be relevant with the algorithms. Because you know what? I just don't have that in me right now. And it is what it is. And that's fine. And my brain works narratively. It works like I have an Ethel Cain brain, you know, like I have a Maggie Rogers brain. Like I think all of these girlies who I identify with, it's because like we like to tell stories from like the big picture and the nitty gritty, you know. It's like they're doing it from like the classic way. Maggie, for example, like they drop the single, you know, it's, and yes, that comes out of like the label system and like that's the way that they decided that we should do it, but it works. And it's like it's a nice way to present a concept, you know, like a story, an era, whatever. And my other thing is I really want to fucking take on a stage name. Sorry, I'll say that again for you. I really want to take on a stage name. I just don't want to know what it is yet. And it's not stressing me out. I don't claim that energy anymore. I just haven't figured it out yet. But I saw someone else I know who's an indie artist also just did it. And for the same reasons as I had, it turns out, which is like, you feel when you're under your own name, you just feel constrained. You just don't feel like you can truly artistically like do what you want to do. Whatever that means to you. And I just think that like I personally need the Hannah Montana effect. Like I need to be able to separate who I am and like what I'm doing, because it is a project, you know, it is a musical project. And I've seen Chapel refer to her project as that a lot. And that has really helped me because like she said, like, you know, she's very gracious and she is like, thank you for supporting my project. Thank you for being a part of this project. Thank you for being along for the project. And I'm like, that's a good reminder because like I need to separate myself from the beast, you know, because like it is like, you know, it is hard and it is a lot of work, but it's like any other job, you know, like you don't like, it's not like, yes, it's my whole life, like obviously. But like I'm like as a person, like I really find myself needing to like make a distinction. And it's funny because even my like family is starting to ask, they're like, are you gonna, because they're nervous that they're gonna get found on the internet. And I'm like, and it in their defense, I always make fun of them because I'm like, how famous do you think I'm gonna get? That how fast? Like, be serious, like be ever for real, you know? And they're like, Olivia, the Instagram, like they can find us now. You don't have to be famous for them to find us on the internet. And I'm like, okay, I actually hear you. That's a good point. Like I hear you a little bit because it's different, you know, like people be Googling and like I don't understand why there needs to be any shame around someone's artistic endeavors. Mine are particularly tame right now, you know, but families be families and they just want to remain in the absolute shadows. And when you are the one who wants to be in the spotlight, like you are taking everyone who's ever known you along with you for the ride. Like, and like even our favorite artists who like, you know, you think that's their name, like it's not, like along the way, like, you know, so I'm like, and this person who I follow and who I know was saying the same thing. They're like, I'm ready to like, it's a new era. I'm putting out new stuff. And so I'm like, okay, like that was really my sign. Like when I saw Spencer's post, because I've seen one other artist do it that I follow, Addie Oasis is what she goes by now. She's a bassist and like a funk singer, funky as hell. So fucking cool. But she used to go by Adeline. And like over this, I think it's like that 2022, 2021 thing. I think it was this year. She also did the overhaul. She was like, I'm changing my name. I'm dealing with Spotify because she had lots of tracks released. Like, and I'm like, I can't let myself get hung up on the technicalities of things. Like if I feel like there needs to be a brand shift, like I only have 2 songs out. That's simple. It's not a big deal to change those ISRCs or whatever they're called. You know, like that's not a big deal. So that's the other thing that I think is on the horizon. I think that I am going to be like changing my artist name, and that is horrifying to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like horrifying. Like people, oh my God, I'm so excited to do that. Like, no, because like it stresses me out because it's like you can do that sort of thing like once.
Yeah.
Unless you start a new
Yeah.
project, of course.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever. Like, obviously people can do whatever the fuck they want, but it's like if you want to build like a cohesive, like you got to stick something, you know, so people who know what to call you, who you are, where you're coming from. And it's scary, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
so
it
there's
is scary.
that. That's on the horizon. But I think it'll get easier the more that I do it. I dyed my hair dark recently. I don't know. Like I'm starting to just do impulsive things that like
me too.
Oh my God, yes, hair dye girls. Because I'm like, I need to like I am always like, get over yourself. I say that to myself a lot. Like just literally get over yourself. Like what like get over yourself.
Yeah.
Like why are you like
yeah,
you know, like that's me to myself in the mirror, like, bitch, like seriously, like just get it done.
It is scary, like choosing a name, because sometimes I catch myself, you know, when I was in England, I referred to like Bonnie. So like, and I went to a lot of concerts and like I talked about my podcast, so I knew I would introduce myself as Bonnie. But like Bonnie is not my real name, you know. So it was like interesting because sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, you know, because I called myself Bonnie Robertson when I was like 15. So I'm like thinking at some point, will I regret it? Because, you know, will I be like at 35, will I be like, oh God, I called myself Bonnie Orbison because I really listened to Roy Orbison.
I didn't realize that you chose that.
I chose that.
I thought that was your name. It's like, and you're the only one who's going to be like, oh my God, people are going to know it's not my name. Oh my God, people. But it's like everyone else, like they just like, I think it must be some sort of like, when someone tells you their name, you just take it because that's what their name is. They just told you. So it's like, I'm so in my head for no reason. Like,
I recognize that because I'm going, so I changed websites. I like deleted like my Bonnie Orbison website.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still there, but it's like linking to the new one. And because I'm a publisher and I want to approach publishing other writers' work next year. So I was like, I'm going to do this very professional. I'm going to create the new website I'm creating is for my publishing company. And that one is like legally, you know, like signed up here in the community with my legal name. So I have to put everywhere like my legal name into it. And I was like, oh, people will know that it's me, you know. But actually people don't.
They don't.
Like people like, like people are like, oh, you've got a publisher? And I'm like, like, yeah, it's me, but I just didn't believe that I have a publisher. Like,
that's really cool. Oh, that's really exciting. I think also we probably get hung up in like, because we're still so much like I'm still on such a local level that like my fans are my friends and family still, you know, and it's like I'm very or like, you know, around the area, but like I feel like once you get over that hurdle, that's actually the only hurdle that I have is like having to explain it to everybody or like not or like just being faced with questions because like strangers don't know or care.
Yes.
Like they just take it as okay, cool, bitch, whatever. And it's like the people who don't know me yet, they won't know me. They'll know me as that, you know? So that's why I'm like, I think I just need to not get it over with, but it's like, I want to start releasing things like under this project, like cohesively. Yes. My first 2 singles, well, great and close to my heart. I don't even know if see, this is where the business part comes in because it's like, you should put them in the EP because they already have the streams. So that helps, you know. But ultimately, you know, I'm on kind of, thematically, yes, they still fit. But I'm like, there needs to be a shift in the work and there needs to be a shift because there already has been a shift in the work. Shit's written. The stuff is already there. You know, it's already written. It's already ready. It's just like a matter of getting it recorded and like figuring out how it's going to land overall thematically. You know, do I have money for videos? What do I have money for? How cheap and dirty can I do it? Because that's how I am too. Like, and I don't necessarily think that everything needs to be glitzy and glamoury. Like I did when I first came here, you know. I thought I was going to be like, okay, like all my videos are going to be like film festival quality, this, that, the other thing. But I'm also kind of like, no, fuck that. Like I want my videos to feel like they were made on like with our feet on the ground. I'm like
Yeah.
a little stoned, you know, and like on an iPhone, like or whatever, you know, like I just want it to feel, I just want it to be normal. I don't, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I want it to be kind of just like, I guess kind of like a moment in, just a moment in time, because that's what this stuff really kind of is.
Yeah.
And like the material is, I mean, the stuff I'm singing about is like about getting through past over stuff, being confused about like not wanting to, you know, be intimate or vulnerable, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it wouldn't, it doesn't make sense to me to then have any visual component be too like princess treatmented. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get
True,
that.
like, or too, not princess treatment, but too like
Too glamorous.
glamorous, like glazed over, yeah, like donut shiny perfect glaze, like the Krispy Kreme effect. I
Yeah.
think of it as just because it doesn't, and like the closer I get to it and like the longer I've been sitting with it, because I've been sitting on this material for like some of it like over 2 years, or some of it like, yeah, like over 2 years now, basically. Some of it's brand new. Like I've written a couple of things really recently where, you know, it's like songwriter's perpetual problem. It's like, well, like this one, are you good?
Yeah.
Is it gonna have to wait, or is it good enough to just like, does it match the other
Yeah.
stuff I was planning already? You know, so I'm kind of in that phase as well of like trying to figure out what foot I want to put first. And that's where the single by single model does come in handy, because you can kind of just like do whatever as you want.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think I'll end up in such a tornado of like mishmash personally that I won't be able to pull it together after that. Or I won't have like, or I won't like, I really want to have like this is what my name right now, whatever. This is what Olivia DeToma is. Like, this is what ODT is. I can't use ODT because there's already somebody else on Spotify who like, that's like a whole fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise people are like, why don't you just do that? And I'm like, it's like a random Swedish rap group or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably looking for me. But it's like, I don't remember where I was going with that. Oh,
You
you
want
know,
like
yeah.
the next
When
yeah.
people hear my name or see it, I want them to like get an image. Like, this is what this is what she's about right now. Because like, you know, next era, from the next era to the next era, that's whatever. You know, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like as a chunk of work, like I want it to be cohesive. And I'm coming back to
Yeah.
that because that's always how I've been. So I really I gave it the good, let's see how that feels. But I've
Yeah.
decided, you know, I'm gonna stick to my roots in that way. And I think that I'll feel
Nice.
better about when things come out, because it'll be way more like planned. Like I am a
Yeah.
control freak. Um,
Me too.
you know, so I
Me
think
too.
like for me, doing single by single feels like throwing things against the wall.
Yeah.
I would rather give
Yeah.
someone like a full meal rather than
Yeah.
just like throwing them snacks every couple of hours. That's just
Yeah.
me.
I was thinking of that because when you said like you don't want to talk like you want to talk about not thinking in singles form but like thinking of an entire work of art basically. And I was actually thinking it's interesting because the first thing that popped up in my mind was like that like beginning of this year Dessa, I think that's how you pronounce the name, Dessa.
That sounds familiar. Got
She
it.
beginning of this year she like released every week a single and like kind of told the story throughout those 12 weeks I think it was. And Riza is doing this now too.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was
That's
like
clever.
yeah, but at the same time I was like thinking, well, you know, kind of it is like every week you have to promote a new single, which can get tiring.
Yeah, I don't have the promo material budget, promo media budget, I don't think.
Yeah.
To like, I mean, that's not to say that I couldn't find a way to shoot however many weeks of stuff like self-portrait wise, but it's like
Yeah.
I mean, you still got to do it all in advance, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, at that point,
It's
I'm like, I
still
think I'd rather
it's
do a 5-song EP or something.
yeah.
I mean, I definitely have like a list that long. Like I could do something like that if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And I think like for me and for what I want to accomplish, the Aries side of me right now, by the way, is like, do it, just throw them all out there, and then they'll be out there, and then you can move on and do something totally new. But like,
yes. I know that.
But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of want to let people at least sit with something for a little bit, like, because I could do a chunk, and then I can do the next chunk, and I can do the next chunk, and then I can do the next chunk. And it's gonna take time. But then I'm always like, oh, I don't know. In that meantime, who knows what could happen in 2 years, 3 years? I mean, maybe all of a sudden I have a budget to make like an album, and people are asking for it, and people are interested in it, and my streams are up, and I'm like, okay, well, fine. And then like someday do what Maggie did and like release an album with like all those old demos. Like I'm interested in that. Like I'm kind of a person where I'm like, there are certain things I definitely want to see the light of day, but there are other things where I'm like, if they don't, that's fine. Maybe fine. Or maybe you only play them live or like stuff like that. I don't know. You know, that stuff's kind of all very much up in the air. But it's funny because it's like so many of the songs that I am thinking about putting into that project, I have been playing live. But I think I'm trying not to get too hung up on like, oh, if I do like, you know, that release, people will have already heard them. Well, I think that's fine because then at least they know, you know, oh, well, I already knew it. This is the one that she played live that she always said like the title was changing or whatever. Now it's this and this is what it is. You know, like that little Easter egg I also like and I think is fun and I think is juicy, especially at the beginning as an indie artist. And people want to follow along with like your journey, you know, they want to follow along with like your how it like started and how it goes and whatever, all that.
They want to be like a baby supporter and then be like, I listened to her when she was unpopular.
And there's still so much power in that, and I think like like we like make jokes about it now and like people would get it like made fun of or, you know, shit on for being like that guy all the time, but like that guy right there is like like got the turnkey and like what's going on, you know, like like that's a cool guy. I mean, I don't know, I just I think that that's fun, like the lore of it all too. I mean, I don't know, you look at bands who've gotten so big too, like the 1975, for example, even Taylor Swift, like the way people analyze her stuff, you know, like and like I do think she's a brilliant genius, and like she is out here like film, like putting like she's doing, like I always have looked up to her for that as well. Like even if I didn't necessarily like the material, I still have always been like, you girl, you're doing that thing. You're doing the 11th hour thing. Do you know that book? I don't know how international this book was. It's very niche because I don't. Okay. So it's this book. It's a children's book. It's called The 11th Hour. It's illustrated. It's this beautiful book, but it's all about these animals who go to a feast and they go to this beautiful feast together. And the thing is that like somebody eats all the food, and you're supposed to go and find the clues through the book to solve the mystery, but it's really fucking hard. Like I had this book my entire fucking life. We still haven't, and there's like an envelope that has the answer in it. I swear to God, like unless my parents peeked or something, like I still don't know what's in that envelope. It might still even be sealed because we never wanted to just give up and figure out like where were all the hidden secrets, but all the because they tell you the story and they're like, everything's in the book, my guy. And like people have told it, but it's like one of those things. There's like you can't like it's for kids, but it's really like truly a good mystery. But I'm like, that's how I see Taylor Swift. Like that's how I see who else was I thinking of who does things like that? It's really her. Like it's at the top of that list. Who did I say? Whatever. Taylor Swift is like the queen of that. Oh, I was talking about the 1975. They have less of the like, I'm telling you secrets, but like I don't know, like their fan base really knows like everything about them from start to finish, like which like depending on what category, maybe like okay, that I don't need you to know that but like you know, like musically, like they know everything, and I'm like that to me just means that people have been consistently paying attention and really invested and like from the start. Like that's cool. I mean, that's rock and roll, baby, you know?
Well,
people would
like
do that if they didn't care. If they didn't connect, you know?
That's true. I wanted to say, I get about the, you know, the I don't know, the listeners who like listens to from the beginning and then like sees the growth. I had this moment when I saw that Chaperone got interviewed by the Rolling Stone. because I interviewed her back in February, you know, when she was like, I was like, what?
What? Like, I'm on the pulse there, okay?
Yeah. I was like, will Rolling Stone hire me? Like, what is?
I mean, or you could. What do they call it in the writing world? But like, you could freelance write for them, maybe, right? Like,
yeah, I'd be like, I discover you new artists.
Keep it up with the podcast. You could totally pitch to them. Like, I'll do segment writing for you or something. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I'm such a music nerd. So like I have like I can tell I have so many facts about like from the 1950s to like now. And especially about like German music, like the German music scene in the 70s and 80s. Also like West Berlin, like West Germany and East Germany. Like I know everything kind of in a way.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, oh, I was like telling to my mom, I was like, one day I will like put a music book around that because everybody's like kind of invested in it. So and like
that would be sick.
Yeah. And I was like, well, you know, because I'm always like, oh, I wouldn't like sell my books, like my fiction novels to like big publishing companies because I got a deal once and then I declined it because it was just too like they controlled too much of me. That's why I went independent. So I was like actually thinking like, but I think I could sell that music book, you know?
Yeah, because that's more objective. It's facts.
Yeah,
it's like...
yeah. But then I was like, yeah, but at that point, like in 20 years, you know, like, do I want it then back then? You know, it was like, or do I just keep it out independent as well? Like, I don't know. We don't know what will happen like 20 years. But I was just interesting, like, oh, I'm considering traditional publishing for a music book. This is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so
cool.
I've been trying to push myself to put more out on TikTok and Instagram just more consistently because I really hate that like when you go to my pages, the first thing you see isn't always necessarily music right now. So I'm trying to put more out there because you know the more times you shoot your shot, the better you have it. You know, I don't necessarily think that going viral is the answer to all problems all the time or like the answer to everything all the time, you know. But it would be cool. I mean, because it happened once with Push when those trending videos were going around, it was like lots of text, right? And that really boosted my streams.
Nice.
You know, and it's like I didn't get some freaky label deal out of it where they were gonna own all my stuff and turn me into a whatever. But I got a lot of streams out of it, and that was great.
That's great.
Like
yeah.
I'm more looking for that kind of exposure, you know, because I am still really wary of those big contracts. You know, if one comes along that doesn't suck, would I take it? Yeah, we all would, you know, like I think like I'm sure there are people out there who are like, no, I never want to work with a label. But it's like I would if it was right and if it was the right group of people, if it was the right, you know, deal.
Yeah.
And if it was the right time, then yeah, why not? You know, like absolutely.
Yeah.
I would certainly consider it. Get a little lawyer to read that over. You know, but I see what's happened to a lot of other people who have gone viral on TikTok and like immediately what happens after that. And so a lot of them have been transparent about it too. Like they got the contract and then it was dead in the water, or like they were all of a sudden being asked to make stuff they didn't really believe in. And I'm like, I just don't.
Yeah. It's ambiguous. Do you say ambiguous? It's an ambiguous thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like which way it's gonna go. You don't know until you're faced with it. And so that's why I'm like, there's no sense worrying about it right now because we're trying to like groom myself for a label, you know, because there's like, we all know, of course, there's lots of different things that we know that they look at. Like we know that they look at Spotify streams. We know that they look at social media numbers. We know that they look at all that stuff now. But it's just like, are you going to let it rattle your cage? Or are you going to just like do your thing until you find people who really align with you? Because I truly think that the secret is still collaboration and honestly like nepotism obviously, but like aside from that, like if you're not a nepo baby, then it is still being in the right place at the right time and knowing the right people and being a good person and like I think being kind and being good to work with, you know, fun to work with. You know, like these people who are collabing all the time and constantly getting work and constantly doing this and that, like for the most part, from like the people I'm looking at and like my ground of things, I don't think that those people are getting those things because they're assholes. Like I don't think those people are getting those things because they're really difficult to work with, you know?
Yeah.
Like I know people who've like met Maggie, like, because like when she was playing on a news show or something, and she was like, no, she was so lovely, she was so nice, you know, she was great to work with. And it's like,
yeah,
I'm just trying to be professional, you know. It's like I feel like I'm confident that, like, you know, if you just, anybody who's like doing their thing, staying in their lane, you know, like minding their business, flourishing, networking, and, you know, like trying to build like genuine connections with people whose work you think that, you know, you align with. And like, that's just called making friends. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's just like how it goes. Cause like, we all want to work with our friends, and some of our friends just aren't our friends yet. They just don't know it, you know. But it's like, I don't know, like a weird mix to like never meet your heroes and also like have a list of people that you think you genuinely like could collaborate with if you were in the right place and time, and like you had the right demo to show them and they were like, oh, I like that, you know. Like I try to think more like that rather than like, who can take me to the top, you know, because it's like it's never been about, like, I guess some of the coolest things I want to do like are more towards the top, but it's not because they're at the top that I want to do. It's because like Maggie just so happens to be like really popping right now, you know. And like there are other examples I just can't think. I've been thinking about her a lot lately. Like Rin Weaver, for example. And like Ethel Cain is on the up and coming, like, oh, girl, talk about Miss Ethel. Like she is someone where I'm like, like we would have sat next to each other in the library in school and become friends. Like, you know, like that's the kind of person where I'm like, like I would love to sit to tea with you and just keep like hang out and chat. Like I bet we have things in common, bestie. Like, you know, like so those are that's like a goal of mine, is to like be good enough that I feel comfortable like cold pitching myself to artists that I admire, like having enough of a leg to stand on, even if I'm still independent. Yeah. Even if it's just in the sense, because I think it's easier to do that for playing shows than it is, you know, to be like, let me play, like make a song together. That's delusional. And we love to think delusionally because that's how manifesting works. But like in a very practical sense, like Madeline Kenny is an example. Like I've seen her play shows here. Like she's pretty indie, like, and she has a stern following where it's like, if I got better and like, you know, whatever, I would 100% feel comfortable, you know, reaching out to her, like, hey, you have a show, like, can I open for you? You know, stuff like that. Like that's my goal. Because I feel like you only ever get places by asking. Like asking is for free, and you can't just sit around and wait. Like, you know, there's too many people out here to sit around and wait. So I'm like, I'm trying to get myself to a competitive level, and then I'm trying to be in your face, like, what's up?
Nice. I was thinking about that because, you know, I haven't really, I don't know, I have interviewed, like, I've done interviews this year, but I haven't really done as much as interviews as I've done before. But I was like constantly like, you know, reaching out to artists and like telling them I love their music, especially like indie artists, and like keeping in touch with them because of like of a potential interview. And there were like two examples. Like one, we just like no friends, you know, like I don't want to even interview, like, you know, if she's like releasing a single, of course I would like support her, but like now we're like friends, I don't want to interview her in a professional sense, you know. Or like and another indie artist kind of turned into they kind of always postponed the interview, so we never really ended up doing the interview. But we've met at a concert, like after that concert in London now, and it was just like, as we like friends, I was like, okay, I think you pushed past the interview, we will never do that. That's okay.
We're just pals now.
So yeah. So yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. And also about networking, I have to say, I've never looked like really at myself as like a journalist, but I went to concerts, and like I hate bragging, because, you know, we just see bragging from like the most selfish people, and we're like so pissed off that they brag. But I was at a concert of like a band, of like a pretty indie band, so they were like, and they had like openers which were like even more indie. It was like crazy, it was like really indie. And and they're like from the opening band, the moms were at the concert. And I talked to them because they were like the only ladies. Like I was really early there, so they were like the only ladies I could talk to because the other were like boys, and I like I didn't want to talk to them. And I talked to them, and I said, "Yeah, I have a music podcast," and they were like, "So you're a journalist?" And I was like, "Uh-huh."
Yeah.
And then they were like, suddenly I was like, they were pitching their sons to interview, and I was like, oh, because I'm like constantly thinking about writing, like I need to network more. And suddenly I was the network. Like suddenly I was like the important person in the room to impress. And I was like, and I was
opportunity.
Like, this is crazy. Totally. This is scary. And like after the concert, the sons was like, they stood like in a row there, like, hi, I'm this, and they were like,
nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, we've heard you're a journalist. And I was like,
Yep, that's me. Yes, you are. 100%.
Yeah, that was the weirdest situation. Like I suddenly having 4 boys surrounding me and like pitching themselves, like after their moms pitched them. I was like, yeah, that's like funny. And I just heard them live. I've never heard of them before, so I couldn't like say immediately like I've got an interview.
Great work, like love your work. Like I don't know you, just met you.
Yeah, but it was like crazy to me to think of like, oh wow, like I was actually scared of myself too.
Like look at me, oh shit.
Yeah there were a lot of indie moments. I maybe should just do like a podcast episode talking about the indie moments I've met on my UK trip, because I went
like an episode about it at least.
I was like we just hopping from one topic to another one, don't we?
Yeah. Did you have any more questions for me?
Maybe we should do another Bonnie's Legends check. I mean, like I know your name and like a happy birthday because from the first episode we did, but like
yeah.
Okay, so who is your legend?
My legend right now.
Yes.
Can I look at my phone? Is that allowed?
Yes.
I need a refresher. I'm one of those people where it's like I'm thinking about it until I'm asked about it and then everything just goes blank.
Yeah, I think you gave the same answer the last time.
At least I'm consistent. But I feel like there is somebody I've been obsessed with these days, and I guess like, oh my God. Duh. See, like now it's like, duh. Let me ask you this. Do you mean like right now or like of all time?
Well, if someone would ask me who's my legend, I would be like of all time.
Of all
like
time.
Someone
okay. Like overall, not just like they're a legend. Okay.
Yeah.
Overall of all time. I feel like I must say Faith Hill. Even though that's surprising, probably, because she's country. But her music, like her CDs were some of the first CDs I ever owned, period. But she was like one of the only ones I was allowed for some reason. I don't know, like my parents, like they didn't let me just pick out anything. Like they don't, and the thing about it is like they don't listen to country music. So, and I was so little that it's a combination of like, I'm not sure if they were like, she seems like a God-fearing woman, that's fine. Or if I was like, that lady, like she looks like she's pretty because she was blonde, I was probably like, she looks like a Barbie because I was like young, but I don't really know why exactly she ended up. I think maybe the other reason is because she did have like her This Kiss single might have been on the radio. Like she had a single on the radio or something. And I think like that one song, I was like, I like that song. And then I was like, okay, well, back in the day, he was like, well, I'll buy the whole CD. Yeah. But that woman taught me how to sing.
Oh, wow.
It's because of her. I mean, she was the first person I remember. I mean, the order in my memory of like it's like Faith Hill and then like Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I should have said Avril Lavigne because like, obviously she's a fucking legend. Because like Faith Hill was the first time I realized I wanted to sing. Avril Lavigne was the first time I realized I could be a singer.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like a hybrid moment.
Yeah.
Kind of like the two of them. Because
Nice.
I kind of like came into awareness about them at the same time too. So they're very like,
yeah.
And since they're so different, it's like, yeah, Faith was the voice, but Avril was like the vibe. Obviously, like
Yeah.
she was the first person, you know, other than the pop stars who I had seen. And like I knew who Alanis Morissette was, but I didn't know what she looked like. I didn't know what her story was. You know, I had no idea other than like what the song sounded like. So truly, like, I was at a loss for her, but like I had the Avril CD, you know, I knew what she looked like. You know, I had the pamphlet, you know, whatever, like CDs or something.
Yeah.
I started, for some reason, I was able to see the music video for a few of her stuff, like in her second album.
Wow, okay.
Why the hell would I have had access to that? Because we didn't have cable in my house. I had it at my grandparents' house where I did spend a lot of time, like every day after school. But like, I was so young that I was like, where would I have seen it? Because YouTube didn't exist yet, also.
Yeah.
It might have been iTunes. If anything, it could have been like a clip on iTunes. Like I didn't see the whole thing, but like I had a sense of like, you know what I guess I'm trying to say. Like
I get what you mean.
I knew like she was like, oh God. So like she really was like my first like I was like, you mean I don't have to be, because I've always been very femme. I was raised very femme, very girly, like very gendered. No hate, no shade, whatever. It's fine. It's just the way it was. But there always was that little part of me that wanted to rebel so bad, because I grew up like a ballet dancer, and like we were Lutheran, we went to church, you know, and
okay.
I was always supposed to be, but you know, polite and you know, like a lady. And I took, like, when I was little, for some reason, like I really was obsessed with being like polite and quiet, and like etiquette was like, I was like obsessed with etiquette. It was like weird. I think it was because I thought that like it was the classic like Disney Princess Mia Thermopolis of it all. I was like, one day I could just like find something out, or like, I don't know. I think I'm like secretly lost royalty. I was a big Anastasia girl as well. Animated film. Oh my God. So when I was little, I was very like into that. But it also, I was like, I kind of just, you know, I was like, I'm a punk. I mean, I think like down there deep somewhere. And I don't necessarily identify with all of this aesthetically, but like, you know, because she wasn't totally prim and proper, but she still sang a good ballad. Like Avril pipes, you know, so I would say that.
Another question was, which I remember it was, I don't know, I did the Spanish Legends game at that time. I don't do that anymore because I lost most of the cards. But I remember you picked a card, and that card kind of became now the fifth like question of the Bonnie's Legends check. And I still know your answer, so I'm interested in like what you will say now.
This time?
Yeah. So what is a song you consider like an all-time classic? Because it's just so good. And I was like thinking of this because this evening I listened to my David Bowie playlist. And you know, when you like, I don't know, when you're a big fan of like someone like David Bowie, you don't listen to the big ones, you know, because you don't want to be you know, you want to be cool, so you listen to the other stuff. And I pressed like shuffle, and Heroes went on, and I was just like, oh, this is such a good song. Like I know why it's so hyped, why it's like such an all-time classic. So yeah, kind of in that sense.
Oh, I know where I can go to find one really easily. I have a playlist called David Allen Boucher. And it's like, that's the name of the radio DJ who did the night show for the radio station I would listen to when I was back home as a kid.
Okay.
Magic 106.7. Magic 106.7. And I don't know if he still does bedtime magic, but he did for like years and years and years and years.
Okay.
It was like pop rock and soft rock hits from the, you know, 80s, 90s now, and like maybe even the 70s. I'm trying to find the playlist because it's perfect. Hang on. Okay, let me just search for it. David, because that's where I keep all the like classics. Oh my God, there's so many on here. I'm like, this one, that one, this one, that one.
You can drop some.
I have no idea what I said last time, so I'm not trying to like guess right. I'm just genuinely trying to think. Let's see. Okay, like
I think you will be surprised what he picked the last time, I think.
really? I think I will be too. Let's see. Oh, okay, I'm torn right now between Heaven by Bryan Adams, Come to My Window by Melissa Etheridge, and She's Like the Wind from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
Uh-huh. 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 I agree with the latter one. That's wow.
So torn between those three right now. So I feel like, or oh my God, I Just Died in Your Arms by Cutting Crew.
Oh.
Like, and like this one, like personally, like on a personal level, Walking in Memphis, because that song it wasn't my parents' wedding song, but I was told in their wedding video. But I didn't know that until I was like a grown person. I've loved that song my entire life. So when I found out that that was like also the case, I was like, okay, come through. Like that song is totally iconic. And I had accidentally ended up going to college with his daughter. Hey, Emily, she's awesome, fantastic filmmaker, wonderful person. We did when we met, and I found out like that was like actually her dad. I was like, I know you probably got this a lot, but like your dad like changed my life a little bit. I was like, that song, like it's like that song is so, like I can't, and this was before I even knew about my parents. I told her about that once I found out later, but I was like, I don't like know how to, I was like, I'm trying to be cool right now because she's very cool. She's like a very fucking cool person. And I was like trying not to be a fucking weirdo, but I was like, I don't know, like he's a wonderful guy and I love his brain. That's all. And she was like, oh my God, no, I actually don't hear that often. Like, because he was such a one-hit wonder, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up. Like, stop talking right now. I was like, best song ever. So like, honestly, like, I don't know. I might have to just pick that one.
Okay.
That song. I would love to do a cover of that one day. Cher has like her cover is great as a great example because it's like, I don't think she changed. She may have, I think she raised the key a little bit, actually. It's still Cher alto range, but that's what I like about it. Like I can sing it in his register. I would love to do like a full, like a full on cover of that one day. That's a goddamn classic. But I truly, I forgot about I Just Died in Your Arms.
Yeah.
That song is. Ooh. Like what did they put in there? Like I'm gonna open the credits and I'm gonna open the year because I don't remember like.
It's like in the 80s, like 85.
I just died in your arms tonight. Ah! Oh God, it's good. Okay,
I had an entire like as a child. 86. Oh wow, that was a close guess for me.
Almost the 90s. Yeah, it's like almost getting into like 90s. Oh my God,
that song, I listened to this a lot when I was like a child because my dad used to play it a lot. I don't know, but I always had like this one music video concept in my mind spinning when it like came on. So when he like dropped the name, I saw the music video immediately in front of my eyes.
Which I don't think I've even seen the music video before.
No, not the actual music video. I had like my own music video in my mind.
Oh, sorry. Got you. I misheard you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, nice. But also, She's Like the Wind. Like that's a good one. Like, because Patrick Swayze just did that one track. Like he never did anything else in music.
Super sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I've read his biography, so I'm just gonna drop why. Yeah, because after Dirty Dancing, he had like so many, like he got so many roles to like act, and because he struggled like 8 to 10 years, he struggled to like actually get a decent acting job, and I think then he got like The Outsiders, and then it took off like obviously like and then like after Dirty Dancing, he got like so many roles that he didn't want to like risk like his acting career because he really loved acting. He didn't want to risk it to just do more music, although he enjoyed it. But like his wife says, like his wife like wrote it with him because he was already sick when they wrote it, and she was like writing like that he continued to play like guitar and he loved to like sing. Yeah. Just a little fun fact about Patrick Swayze.
I didn't know that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. It was nice talking to you again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much.